So we're here on a functional neurological disorder question and answer community conversation. All of you, all the participants have various relationships with FND. Some of you have had the disease. These community conversations are also for healthcare professionals, for family members, for friends, for people who want to contribute to raising awareness. And the question that I have for you, for the community is, what are the hallmarks, the characteristics of functional symptoms that you have noticed throughout your journey and that you want to share with the rest of the group here to raise awareness, understanding, and that you want to share with the world, because this is going to be shared in the web. What would you share? What are the characteristics of functional symptoms that you have noticed?
I think it often starts with anxiety or a fright or tension. For example, last summer, my wife and I were shopping in a supermarket, and I felt a little bit, I hadn't been in that supermarket before, so I held onto the trolley. That was fine. My wife bought something electronic, and the cashier forgot to remove the tab, so that when we left the supermarket, the alarm went off to let the security guard know that we'd taken something out. I got such a fright. My knees gave way, my ankles gave way, and I was on the ground, and it was pouring rain, and I just completely crashed. Fortunately, there was someone there, a nurse, who knew about it, and she and my wife and somebody else helped me to the car. It was just a sheer fright that made me crash.
Yes, Gordon, now that you're recalling the story, would you be able to share a little bit of what are you feeling right at this second? As you recall the fear, the anxiety, the bodily tension, the shock, and also the weakness. Help us feel it with you. Describe to me, what are you feeling in your body right now as you share the story?
I'm feeling quite comfortable. I have been looking forward to this meeting. I was very pleased to hear Thane talking, who I know is a friend. And I'm very glad to be involved in this program. Getting frights is a big thing for me. It makes me lose control of my body. Anxiety. Another example of a fright is when I was doing something in the living room, and unbeknown to me, my son and wife and granddaughter suddenly appeared, and I got such a fright. Again, my legs gave way, I couldn't speak, and I fell over a clothes dryer, and all the clothes went flying, and my granddaughter was so upset that she started crying because she thought I'd done something to me. So sometimes it's very unexpected. Other times, if I've done too much physically in the house or in the garden, my knees feel uncomfortable or my ankles feel uncomfortable. And that's always a good warning sign. I normally have a warning before anything serious happens. Mostly it's my knees or my ankles. I feel the sensation. That's the warning sign.
So I want to point out a few important things that you said. One, the relationship between emotions and physical sensations. I get afraid, someone startles me, someone appears suddenly, unexpected, some anxiety, some discomfort, uncomfortable emotions, how they have a physical manifestation. And that is absolutely normal. It's how the body works. Now, what is abnormal is how we get scared, right? That's what goes and falls into the category of the dysfunction, being scared of our own body. That's a problem. That's what needs correction. Now, the relationship between the emotions and the physical sensations is normal. We get anxious or nervous and our palms sweat. We may shake a little bit if we see a lion getting closer. If we're in love, we feel warmth or butterflies in the chest or in the stomach. It's part of being human. Now, the question that we will have to address, each one of us individually, that is part of the Three Worlds program, past, present, and future, is why is it scary when my body does that? What happened in the past? So what happens in the nervous system is that sometimes a physical sensation in the past gets coupled subconsciously with an emotion. And then when that emotion appears, the physical sensation that comes from that event in the past reappears. And we don't know, why is my body doing this? And of course, it is strange and it is disconcerting. So we need to uncouple them, separate those emotions that usually happen in the past from the physical sensation. So Gordon, for you to study yourself a little bit and to develop self-awareness and self-knowledge would be, when was the first time that I felt all that physical manifestations of anxiety? The weakness in my legs, the knees giving out, and also, what is the story of my anxiety? Let me get to know it, because only by getting to know the anxiety, we're going to be able to negotiate and actually use it to avoid what we want to avoid, to get what we want to get. Because the anxiety usually appears in situations of stress where we need to pay attention. So instead of allowing it to scare us, when we get to know it really well, we're gonna turn it into a friend. So the homework would be, what's the history? When did it appear for the first time? Let me go back and really get to know. And then we can talk about it. And then, of course, you said other things that are very important. The environment, how the environment has an impact in the way we feel physically, emotionally, mentally. And that's also important because we can change the environment. We can say like, hey, I'm a little sensitive. My nervous system is a little sensitive. So please, let's avoid loud noises. Let's keep calm around me. Let's say what we need to say. And the other thing that you said so beautifully was, I feel comfortable talking about my experience. It feels good. And that is another common feature. When you all tell me, when you all tell your friends and your family members and you feel heard and understood, and you voice your human experience, it feels so good. Yeah. Thank you, Gordon. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Anyone? Anyone else? Shante, go right ahead.
Okay, so like Gordon said, anxiety does seem to be the beginning, we'll say. So I've always had social anxiety, like social, and regular anxiety, but I first noticed twitches, and not spasms, but twitches. And then they turned into full-blown seizures, not always, but sometimes. And then, through more work and becoming self-aware, that I realized they only happen when I'm like extremely stressed out. And I mean, I've had the EEGs, I've seen the seizure specialist, couldn't find anything. Maybe a little something, but nothing definitive. And then again, like I said, they, realize that, if our body was a car and we are supposed to have a governor, so you can't speed, the governor would be our emotional system. And I tell people, my governor is broke. The emotions do what they want. You cry over a stupid puppy video, and again, this stress does strange things to the body. Very, very strange things.
Yes, Chantel, thank you so much. So I'm just going to make sure I understood. Anxiety has so many different manifestations. For some, can be weakness, can be bodily tension. For others, can be twitches, can be seizures. For others, can be tingling. For others, can be inability to speak. So many different manifestations. So I see patients, clients, friends asking me all the time, is it normal that for me, it gives me weakness in my right arm? Yes, it can give you anything. And remember, the nervous system controls everything that we do. Seeing, hearing, speaking, memory, sleep, sensation, all our senses, our internal organs. So yes, FND can have any manifestation. And it goes back to, and Chantel, you and I spoke a lot about this, the history of the anxiety, how our childhood can have us in a tense alert state, and how there is, again, the coupling. Some situations in the past may have had us in a high alert state, and maybe at that time during our childhood, we felt a little shaky, and then when anxiety shows up in the future, these days, is coupled with that physical sensation. The stress, of course, is a big trigger. So the importance to know your triggers. Take a notebook. You need to know all your triggers. And when you see that your triggers are environmental, are emotional, are mental, that is a hallmark of FND, because you don't get an infection, or you don't get liver cancer, God forbid, or you don't get glaucoma because of an environmental trigger or an emotional trigger. Emotional trigger, mental triggers, environmental triggers are a hallmark of functional disorder or dysfunction in the nervous system. So it's good to tell your doctors your triggers. It's good to know your triggers, because then stress, no, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing this. I am for help in order to do all these things that I want to do. So you can modulate your stress, you can modulate your anxiety, but first you need to know your triggers. So start watching and making notes. And I am going to disagree that is a problem, that emotions are our compass. We always try to get that what makes us happy. We always try to go for that brings us peace and satisfaction. We always, our bodies are going to reject what causes fear, what causes anxiety, what causes distress. Emotions are our best friend and what keep us healthy and alive and in balance, and are gonna let us know, don't go there. So it is good that emotions show and that they are trying to guide us to, because it's not good to be stressed out and it's not good to be anxious. So when they appear, when they try to govern, it's a good thing. The problem is when the intellectual mind wants to go a different way, and then the emotions a different way, and then there is a little bit of a clash or incongruity right there. But and the other thing is that emotions are subconscious, because they are so important for them to appear that they show before the information gets to the conscious mind, before they go through the intellectual brain. So you feel sad and you may cry even before then the intellectual mind understands why. If you're in an argument and sometimes you feel angry and you don't know why, but you feel angry. So they are so important that they show up before the intellectual mind understands it. So it's really important to take the time and understand the emotions and sit with them and see how they show in the physical body and get to know, and the meaning. What are they trying to tell me? Thank you, Shante. Who wants to go next? Let me change the view to see your hands. Anyone wants to share? What's a hallmark of FND that you have noticed, that you would like to share with the group? Cheryl, that is learning about it now. Go ahead, Julie.
One of the things for me is certainly working memory, being able to use my ears and listen. My brain is already spinning like, no more information. It's like a big red light. I want to be here. I want to hear. I want to absorb what everybody's saying, especially you. And I find myself just going, I hear, it's like, I hope those out of the country understand this one. It's like Charlie Brown with the teacher going, wah, wah, wah. That then drives me crazy, which makes me deaf. So that's definitely one of them.
Yes, and I see your frustration now. What are you feeling in your body, Julie? How does that show in the body?
My left arm is very weak. There's a lot of pain right in here. When Gordon was talking about his leg weakness, my legs felt almost, they were definitely heavy, not necessarily weak, which is heavy muscle, almost loss of muscle tone heaviness is definitely one of my manifestations, I guess is the right word. And this is where it's difficult for me to, and certainly the medical team, to figure out what's what, because I was diagnosed with narcolepsy with cataplexy at 22 and I'm almost 52.
Yeah.
And heavy, and my narcolepsy or the cataplexy was not complete drop down cataplexy. It was brain and body shutdown cataplexy. I would fall asleep and I would get so heavy that I couldn't move. My FND heaviness is just heavier. But all of the other narcolepsy kinds of things happen with the FND stuff, and teasing them apart is almost impossible, which is why I believe that it's highly likely that even though narcolepsy is a depletion in a certain brain chemistry thing, it's also like fibromyalgia, sitting under, as you mentioned on Thursday, functional neurological illnesses.
Yes. Julie, thank you. So many important things. And a minute ago, we spoke about...
and I'm feeling it behind my sternum right now.
Yeah.
That feeling like almost not quite needing to burp, but it's getting there.
Heavy or congested or full there. Yeah. Yeah, so as Julie was saying, a minute ago, we reviewed the connection between emotions and physical sensations. Now, Julie brings about the reminder of the connection between the mind, the higher cortical functions, right? The memory, the activities, the food that we give to the mind, our attention, our concentration, all the higher cortical function and their relationship to the physical body. And what Julie said, it was so interesting. Okay, I feel my brain is spinning and spinning with so many ideas, so many thoughts, so many activities, so many memories from the past and things to do about the future. It's so full that my working memory is kind of not really working. And then I feel dead. So think about it. If I tell you, all of you, if I tell you, okay, I'm going to tell you 3 words and you have to remember them. And then I tell you, dog, pencil, chair. Remember them. And then I tell you, okay, now I'm going to tell you 20 words. Remember them all. Dog, pencil, chair, grass, wood, tree, floor, wall, toes, bird, grasshopper, red, white, river, mountain, ant. Remember them all. You have to remember them all. It won't happen. It's impossible. And then the mind gets overwhelmed and it's like, I don't want to hear anymore. Give me some rest. So Julie, I'm not sure what are your activities and what's occupying your mind. But I know one thing. I know that you signed up for the 3 Worlds program months ago. And you haven't had the time to talk to me one-on-one. I think you're a very busy woman, which is a good thing, but it can overwhelm the mind. Right? So
Yes, and even in this video, you know, I'm noticing you're making it, you're saying all these words and Gordon's sitting there writing them down to find, at least I think that's what you're doing, Gordon. And so I'm trying to listen to you while I'm distracted by all of this other stuff and seeing everybody's heads nod and going, oh, too much visual, too much audio. Brain shut down.
It's overwhelming. And society promotes that. And if you don't do 20 things a day, and if you don't meet all your deadlines, and if you don't make tons of money, and if you don't take care of your family, and if you don't have a list that goes on and on and on and on, you're a failure. But let me tell you, we're not meant to live like that. Society is being a failure to us. And that is why we have so many mental illnesses. The mind cannot take it anymore. It's impossible. And that's why we have a race in functional neurological disorders, because it's really overwhelming. So you are not the problem. The problem is to find our true priorities and making our mental health and our peace, understanding that it's a need, it's not a choice, it's a need. So Julie, I think a good exercise is to look at your day and see, okay, am I giving, what are the activities that I'm giving to my mind? How am I occupying my mind? And am I assigning enough time for leisure, for fun, for rest, and simply to do nothing? They knows about this, but monks, they dedicate enlightenment to achieve enlightenment, which is a quality of the mind. You have to go on a retreat center in the middle of the wood, immersed in nature and do nothing. You only meditate, which is giving peace, emptying your mind, bringing the attention to your mind on the present moment. You eat and you sleep and you talk a little bit. Maybe you do some simple activities, swiping the floor, but resting, meditating, and giving peace and rest, so basic to the mind, is very important to help our memories too. So look at your schedule, Julie, And then how the mind being too full, how it can give all sorts of problems in the physical body. And Julie, you said one very important thing, the power of the mirror neurons. We talk about this a lot in the winter months. You see someone going through pain and you feel the pain. You see someone describing heaviness in the legs and it makes you feel heavy and weak. So the environment where we put ourselves, the people with whom we interact, having ill family members and seeing them suffering through the illnesses can really put an impact in our bodies, right? The caregiver burnout, the caregiver illness, because our brain really absorbs and believes what it sees. So we have to make sure we nourish. If we have family members who are ill and aging at home, make sure you also spend time with younger members of the family, with friends. Make sure you rest, because all those are important phenomena to remember. Thank you, Julie.
It's so interesting. When we talk, please hold this spot for us with the caregiver at home situation.
Yes, that's so important, Julie. I know. Who wants to go next? Anyone wants to share something that you have noticed? Any characteristic thing? Go right ahead.
Yeah, it's, I've been listening with quite a bit of interest to all the conversations, and I feel all have had some bearing on my own life. It's quite interesting. Going into the Christmas holidays, I was actually feeling as good as I'd felt for about 2 years. But I put that down to working with yourself on a lot of different methods. But I found the Christmas holidays quite difficult. And I think it ties in with what kind of Julie was saying there, and a little bit of what Gordon said as well, that although I enjoy the Christmas holidays, and my wife was on holiday, my kids are 23 and 18, so they're around, it just seemed to be busy. I kind of got into a routine where I realized I was doing too much. Even though I was ill, I was still trying to do things in the house, or I do a bit of writing, and do a bit of this. I really felt overwhelmed, even though in the scheme of things, I probably wasn't doing that much, but because I've got FND, I really kind of quieted my mind down quite a lot, looked at my phone less, doing the techniques that I've learned through this, and in quite a good place. But came to Christmas holidays, and nothing bad happened, but we're out on Christmas Day, people visited on Boxing Day. I just seemed to be every day something happened. And so I got up a little bit later in the morning, just because my wife was on holiday, and we just naturally got up later. So I didn't I tried to meditate in the morning, so I fell out of the way of doing that. There was always something in the afternoon. I normally sit down and do some of Irina's techniques, like speaking to my body and thinking about things in the past and trying to process them. So I fell out of the way of doing that. After 2 weeks, I found that I was really getting quite anxious. I wouldn't say my anxiety really ever, don't really ever think of myself as an anxious person. So even try to get my head around the fact that anxiety is a feature, this was quite difficult to start with. But I don't collapse like Gordon described. I feel dry. But even here, I'm drinking water quite a lot when I'm here. My memory, a bit like what Julie said, my memory is quite bad. I've got a sore shoulder. I've got the same shoulder like you have, Julie. I know you're pointing to your left shoulder. I think it's exactly where my pain is as well. But I just found it also come crashing back. I didn't go backwards to the stage where I was sleeping again every day, but it's just really taught me I really, really need to plan out my days. I know you can't avoid life totally. I don't think I'm trying to avoid life. You still have to deal with some stresses and strains in life. I think it's unavoidable, but I do feel I have to really plan out my day much in quite a scheduled way. Allow me time to do the things I need to do just to sort of calm my mind and calm my body. So I was quite surprised at how just 2 weeks at Christmas time could actually bring me sort of make me out of kilter again. But I find I'm slowly getting that back. But I do feel I need another quite a week or two of really kind of quieter time to get myself back to where I was. So yeah, I definitely think there's something in this, really planning out your day and structuring yeah, what you're going to do a day.
Yes, yes, thank you. That is such a common phenomenon, the worsening of the holidays. And some of you, besides you, Kane, I'm sure, noticed it. And looking retrospectively, I'm sure you know the symptoms tend to get worse during the holidays. And it's so interesting how you said, okay, the holidays, I was doing too much. It was like difficult. There were like tasks at home and presents and things to plan. The mind, and sometimes it's not physical. Sometimes it's just mind planning and designing and making decisions. And that's overwhelming. And then a lot of the time, we are so busy with our doctor job, CEO job, caring for a family member, being a parent, so busy doing something that we don't really pay attention to ourselves. And then when that period stops, that overwhelming, demanding period stops, either because we fall ill, or because we go on vacation, or because the holidays are over, then the symptoms appear. It's so common, and not only in FND, migraines have the same phenomenon. Once the demanding period is over, then the migraines appear, then the FND worsening appears. It's a little bit of inertia, can be like, okay, we're doing a lot, and then during the rest period, the mind keeps going. The mind is hard to shut it down. And then that manifests as discomfort, as anxiety, as feeling still in a high alert stage, dry mouth, insomnia, not being able to rest as well. So it can be a little bit of inertia, or it can be that finally you have the time to pay attention to your state of being and feeling. And then right at that moment, you're feeling the damage of going at a high pace. So in shamanism, I learned that in order to live a healthy life and sustain our health, we need to be selfish. 1% selfish. We need to care for ourselves, 51%, and care for others, 49%. Because remember, if you are not healthy, you will not care for others. So just 1%, can we all do that? It's gonna pay back with more help and being able to give more. But in order to do that, 1%, prioritize yourself. And that means asking, why am I doing all this Christmas shopping? Why am I organizing all these meals? Why am I cleaning the home? For whom? Is it for me or is it for another person? Where are all those expectations coming from? My parents, society, my family, or my soul really wants me to do this? Hey, this is your only life. Do what feels good for you. Because also, if you feel happy and realize, then you are going to be happier with your family members. You're going to be able to share more happiness, more wisdom, more health. So listen to your heart. Why am I doing this? Is it for me? Is it for others? What happens if I don't do that? What's the big problem? What happens if I don't clean my home? What happens if I don't put up the Christmas tree? What's the big deal, really, in your gut? All those are very, very good questions and important to keep in mind throughout the year, because there are so many things that come up that are demanding. Thank you, Thane. That was really, really a good reminder. timely. Anyone else who wants to share a little bit? What are some of the hallmarks, the features of FND, functional symptoms that you have noticed, that you have heard about, that you want to share with one another? If not, we can do a practice. No one else wants to.
I can share something.
Cheryl, go right ahead.
Well, I can share things without knowing a lot about it. I can share a lot of Julie's anxieties and whatnot with noises, that I get overwhelmed with a lot of noise. I get overwhelmed going into like a grocery store or any kind of large environment. I get a lot of overwhelm from that, from my eyesight, because I have the nerve palsy of the sixth cranial nerve. And so my eyes don't see straight. I'm probably gonna have to go in and have another brain surgery, is what we're probably looking at right now, to hopefully save that nerve even more, because my tumor is setting on that nerve. So I have a lot of problems with my eyesight. I don't know if that'd be included in FND or not. But I know the noise anxiety has a lot of things to do with I get really sweaty and anxious, and I have to get out of the environment. I always have to have a way out of everywhere I go. So then that way it's like my escape, from all of that. I don't like to have people over, because all the people overwhelm me. Too much talking everywhere. I can't keep track of, where my brain is focusing at. It won't stay focused just at one thing. It starts taking it all in at once, and it just spins around and around and around. It just doesn't stop. I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder years ago, but since my brain tumor, I've been questioning if it's really bipolar disorder or if it had to do with my brain tumor, because a lot of anger and anxiety comes about. Like, I get angry real easy, and a lot of that has to do with anger towards things I cannot do anymore. Like certain parts of my body don't function the way it used to. And, I have a lot of nerve damage in my face and whatnot from my tumor. And that, I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but there's a lot of things I cannot control that are going on that give me a lot of frustration and anxiety. So I don't know how to cope with that.
Yeah.
So I isolate myself. I self-isolate. I don't go to big places. I don't go anywhere with anybody. I stay home because it's my safe haven. I'm safe here. This is from my life being here at home.
Yeah.
And I can't do that when I'm other places. So I don't know if that has, I'm not sure. I'm not really familiar with the FND, but a lot of things that people were talking about, I can relate with totally 110%. Like right now, I'm getting sweaty. I'm getting sweaty just thinking about talking right now, because I get anxiety talking to people, but I love to share, so I participate.
Okay, let's do an exercise, Cheryl. Just connect with your body, with the parts of your body that are sweating. Just find all the parts. Is it your face? Is it your neck? Is it your hands? Check in with your torso, with your feet. And tell me, what are the parts that are sweating the most or that are hotter? Help me feel it with you.
My head and my neck and my shoulder, just to my shoulders, have a real warm feeling. Everything else is fine. It's all right here. Just this part of me is really warm, and it feels like I just need to take off my sweatshirt and everything because I'm really warm, but it won't help. It doesn't matter if I go out in the cold weather, I'll still be warm all in this area. And a lot of times my ears get real red and my face will get flushed, and it will look like I've almost been burned on my skin. It will get all red on my body. And my right ear turns beet red sometimes when I get like that.
Do you have a tank top or something that you could take off your sweater?
Oh yeah, I have a top on. Yeah, I just put it on because I was actually cold until I started talking, and now I'm overwhelmed and I'm getting all sweaty. So it's weird because I will put clothes on and then I'll take them off, and I'll put a heater on and then I'll turn the heater off. It's almost like my thermostat is broken inside my body. Right. And we were relating to car parts. The one gal was earlier, and it's almost like my thermostat is off, and I can't get
Cheryl, let's see. Okay, let's check in with that thermostat. Let's check in with the temperature. So you notice the heat, you connected with it, and then you told me the areas, it's the head and the shoulders, and you said, I almost want to take it off. So just check in with your body. Do you want to take off your sweater and see what happens? So you
Yeah,
want to keep it on?
Yeah, I'm gonna do that because it is warm. So, okay.
And just take a moment and do another check-in with your face, with your head, with your shoulders. Took a deep breath. What are you feeling now?
More relaxed now.
How do you know you're feeling more relaxed? What changed?
I'm still warm, but my facial features I feel more relaxed in my face.
The muscles?
Yeah.
And you're touching them.
I just feel more, I don't have a lot of sensation in my face. I can't feel that well, but I feel my face relaxing more. You know, when I breathe, when I do the breathing and stuff.
Does it feel good to touch your face? How does it feel when you touch? Yeah. And you have your hands.
Yeah, I was holding my
arm. How does it feel to touch yourself? Like that?
I think I lack a lot of attention from others, hugs and things like that.
And
because
there
I do
you
self-isolate.
are.
Yeah, because I do self-isolate a lot, so I am lacking that.
Yeah, and there you are, like providing yourself what you need. Contact and care, and you're bringing your attention to your own body, listening to your needs, correcting what needs to be corrected, like removing the sweater to feel more comfortable.
Right.
So a lot of things happen. Brain surgery, eyesight issues, environmental stimulation that overwhelms you, then you feel that you don't want to be there, then you want to escape, then you feel angry at yourself because the mind wants to do certain things, but the body is not capable or ready or comfortable being out there.
Right.
And then there is a little bit of a fight between the mind and the body. I feel angry and I feel frustrated. And why is the body doing that? And my thermostat is broken. And then the body is like, okay, then the temperature is going to go up and down. And then you are like, okay, I'm just going to look in, feel what's happening, sense the changes, pay attention, correct what needs to be corrected, give myself love. And I feel better and I feel relaxed. So it's practicing that a little bit more. And I know it is frustrating at the beginning because we want to do everything. Everything was supposed to happen yesterday. We're in a hurry to get better, to go shopping, to be out there. But then maybe the body needs rest. And maybe the body doesn't want to go to the supermarket. We'll try to. It's a process. And many of you know that. Those of you who work with me, you gotta pamper your body. You gotta make yourself the #1 priority. You gotta be selfish. It's the only way to healing because it's inside you. It's inside you. What you need to heal is inside you. Functional neurological disorders is pointing to something that is lacking in your life, something that if you get, you're going to be happier and more fulfilled. So look within. I know there are so many things to do, so many people to please, but you're not going to be able to do it if you don't care for yourself. So look within, take the time, pay attention, uncover your inner wisdom. Everything is already inside.